Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome to the destination of the month for December 2017. And it's a Christmas theme this month. We're going to be flying essentially to the North Pole. Not really quite to the North Pole, but it is the northernmost commercial airport in the world. It is Svalbard, I think that's how you say it, or Longyear Airport in Norway. We'll be flying Scandinavian Air today, and right now we're at Tromso or Langnes. I'm not sure how you really say either of those. Getting ready for our departure here. It's not a very long flight, but it is an interesting flight. It was actually difficult to put the route together because there's not a lot of navigation aids or anything like that up in this part of the world. And despite the time of day being relatively, I don't even know, it's 2050 Zulu, and I don't know what the difference is between this part of the world and London, which is basically where GMT time is, or Zulu time. But either way, by the time we get up to Longyear, it is definitely going to be completely dark because you only get about 10 minutes of sunlight this time of year or something like that. So should make for a pretty interesting flight. Now we are flying our PMDG 737 today, and as has become our new tradition, and we'll continue on forward, we have a full flight tutorial already done for this aircraft. You should see a little info button popping up in the top right hand corner of your screen now. If you click on that, that'll take you to the full flight tutorial on this aircraft, and you can see how to power it up and all of the good stuff that you need to learn how to do from cold and dark. For us, we've already got ground power on the aircraft. We've got most of the systems powered up. All of our pre-flight checks are done, and we're basically ready to start with our FMC initialization and building of our flight plan, which is what you guys have asked to see, and that's realistic too. This is essentially how you would receive the aircraft and so on. So as we get ready to kick that off, the first thing I want to do is I want to pull up and request our boarding, because we're actually ready for that now. So we'll request boarding from SAS. And there you see all the GSX stuff popping in. It'll be asking us to open some doors here shortly. We do have air stairs on this one, but I'm not going to roll those out since we've got some stairs rolling up. So what do you say we hop in the aircraft here, and we can go ahead and open up our doors and get the boarding process started. Alright folks, here we are on the flight deck. First thing we want to do is hop down here and go ahead and open up some doors for these guys. So starting with the forward entry on the left side and the aft entry. Yep, aft entry on the left side. That should get us what we need as far as that side of the aircraft goes. And then let's go over to page 2 and let's open forward and aft cargo. And you can hear folks already starting to load onto the aircraft, so that's fantastic. Now, as I said, we've pretty much got all the power up done on the aircraft at this point. You can see the IRS is aligned. Everything's pretty much ready to go. I've even darkened the back of my displays because I really hate that blue color. So we can dive right into the creation of our flight plan. I got to pop it up on the side over here, and down we go. And since this thing's always in the way, I need to move the speed brakes out of the way. Click on your route key. I think we saved a company route on this one. Let's find out for sure. So it's ENTC. Where does it see? It's up here. /ENSB. Go, and then it would be 01. Let's see if we save that as a company route. Invalid entry. So we'll just double check here real quick. If you click on company route, you can look at them this way as well. There it is. It was 02, that's why. So ENTC to ENSB, 02 is the company route we saved. I don't know why it's 02, but there you have it. That puts all the information in there for us. The flight number, I don't remember what it is, so we're going to go with 2336. We are doing a Mac Air flight today. Actually, I can just pull that up over here, actually. It is 139-200. Now, for those of you who are saying your flight numbers are ridiculously long and so on, I know. We're working on that. It has to do with the way our schedules were originally built because we have so many of them. So eventually our flight numbers will be changed. They'll be a little shorter and a little more normal, I guess is the right word. Let's go ahead and activate that real quick. There we go. Go to our performance initialization page, and let's see here. 0 fuel weight, we'll click on that once. Click on it again, that's going to give that to us as well as our gross weight. We do have a full load of packs today. It's going to make for a nice full flight. Reserves will be at 5, and cost index, of course, is going to be 85 for us. And our cruise altitude is going to be flight level 360. There we go. Execute all that. On over to N1 limit. And we're kind of heavy, so you know, I think we're going to just go ahead and stick with a normal takeoff. We may not need that. I am considering picking up TopCat to calculate all of that stuff, so you know, if you guys have some thoughts on that beyond just hey it's awesome or it sucks, let me know. But if you got some constructive information on it, I'd love to hear it. Throw it down in the comments for me. But in the meantime, we're going to stick with our normal takeoff for this one. Actually, no, we're not. There's just no way we need 26,000 pounds of thrust. We might have a pretty full load, but I don't think we're that full. And I can even double check over here if I go to our airport. Let me open up the page here real quick. We've got 8,000 feet of runway. I think that's probably more than enough. Because again, if you go back here, our gross weight is 145. That's not really that high. I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys let me know. I'm going to go with the, I mean, obviously you can't let me know right now, but I'm going to go with the takeoff one, so derate by 2,000 pounds. That's not that much. We're still at 91.8 on the N1 here, so I think that's plenty. Anyway, takeoff page, flaps. Flaps 5 is standard. Maybe we'll go flaps 10 since we're doing the derate just to make sure. What do you get? Let's go with that. Center of gravity, let's get that in there real quick. Trim needs to be 4.82. Let's adjust it. Oh, that's a little frustrating. It doesn't pop up when I want it to, but then when I don't want it to, it pops up. 4.84 is probably as close as we're going to get, so we're going to stick with that. And then we need to take care of our departure. So popping up the flight plan over here again, we are scheduled for a direct departure. Pretty straightforward, and that actually makes sense when I think about it, because I don't think there's any departure procedures here. Let me see. Actually, there's a bunch of departure procedures. I don't know why. PFPX did not want to plan this flight, guys. Like, it was giving me a hard time about it. So let's look at our weather first. Let me pop that up over here, and we'll see what our weather is going to be, and that's going to give us a better idea of what we might need to look at here. So conditions at our departure are, I gotta write it down, you guys know I'll forget it. So ENTC, and we're looking at 179 at 9 knots with an altimeter of 2906. I know we don't use inches of mercury in this part of the world, but that's what I'm using for now. Alright, so just bear with me a little bit. And then we're -3 degrees Celsius, so we need to remember that we will definitely need to be using anti-ice as well as de-icing before departure. So taking a look here again at our airport chart, and I'm just looking off to the side over here so that I can you know, make the right choice, I guess. So with the wind at 179, it looks like it should be runway 19er for us. And then looking at the departure procedures, there are definitely some available, so we could probably go with well, let's see, that's a runway 01 departure, so that ain't gonna work. And here we go, this is a runway 19er departure, so we can probably take the I'm just trying to decide. Let's go with the Giglu 1 Bravo departure. That's what we're going to use. So let's go departure. Gigli 1 Bravo, runway 19. Execute that, and that'll get us started on our trip. And then if we look at our legs page right here, you can see obviously there's a route discontinuity between there and I forget what this waypoint is, but either way, it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and grab this guy here, throw it in there. It's going to work out just fine, I'm sure, but let's just double check it. So the start of our legs page here, let's get a view where we can see a little bit better. We'll pop this up, both of these up for you, and put this on plan mode. There we go, and we'll step through it real quick. So this is our departure here out to a Giglu, or Gilgu, looks like it's Gilgu maybe is the right way to say it. Zoom that out a little bit, and then we turn on course from there. Pretty straightforward, right? And then that takes us out here, and then over here, and then there's ENSB where we're headed, and we don't have our we don't have an arrival put in there yet, so not a big deal. We'll take care of that here in a little bit. So put that back on the map mode, shrink this back down here, maybe. There we go, and let's hop down here and wrap things up. Alright, so we've got all our legs in there, departure arrivals taken care of. Go back to our takeoff page, that's going to give us our V speeds. The runway is dry, even though it's extremely cold and probably icy. So we're looking at 137, 138, and 146 for our V speeds. And that's going to take care of our FMC planning. Now we still need to take care of setting up the MCP here. And so that's obviously this guy up here, and I'm just trying to remember where the backlighting is for this. For whatever reason, my brain doesn't want to recognize that right now. Either way, we can see it well enough with the dome lights, but we'll need to get all the backlighting turned on, which I'll take care of here off screen in a few minutes. Either way, okay, so main panel setup, minimums as desired. So we don't need to actually set any minimums right now. There's nothing to do as far as those are concerned. Flight path vector is fine. Altimeter needs to be set to the local altimeter of 2906. So that is this guy here. Scroll that down to 2906. That's 4, 5, 6. There we go. 2906. Fantastic. VRs are fine. Mode selectors on the map. Center switch. We don't really need. I don't think we need the center switch. All that does. So if you click on this one here, you can get the compass rose, and you can also get your vertical profile information, which sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, but right now we don't really need it. So there we go. We'll stay on the arc mode there. We don't need to set the course. Flight directors do need to come on, of course. 1 and 2. There's not going to be any altitude restrictions, so we can take it straight up to flight level 360. That worked out pretty good. Auto throttle needs to be off, which it is. Heading needs to go to runway heading, which is 186 degrees. There we go, 186. Altitude set for initial clearance. Autopilots are off. No flags on the PFD. Auto brake needs to be set to RTO. That's this one down here. Engine instruments, we're good on those. Radios are good, we're not worried about those. Transponder needs to be set to off, and we didn't conduct a test on it yet, nor set it. So 2336 is going to be our transponder code, as it always is. And then let's go ahead and test it, and it'll tell us once it's done with its test. Speed brake down, it's up right now because I was using the FMC. Thrust levers are in the idle position.
Test passed.
There's our TCAS test passed. Engine start levers in the cutoff position. Stabilizer trim is set. What else do we have? I think that's everything. We can arm LNAV and VNAV, so we'll arm those right now, and we're pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to take care of backlighting real quick, and then we're going to come back on here and we're going to push and start. Alright folks, we got everything ready to go here. The APU's fired up and we're ready to take care of our push and start checklist. Let's go ahead and get GSX fired up while we're doing this. Prepare for pushback and departure. SAS and nose right, tail left, correct? Yep, I think so. Yeah, nose right, tail left. I hope that's right. No, we don't want to start engines before pushback, and it's not giving us a de-icing option. Not really sure what that's all about. I think we should be getting a de-icing option, shouldn't we? So, I don't know. We'll see if we can de-ice at the de-icing station, but I don't think we'll be able to. But it is what it is. So let's take care of this checklist. Passenger boarding is completed. Doors are closed and locked. Clearance for push is obtained.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Throttles are in the idle position. Start levers are off. Packs are off. APU is running. Bleed air pressure has been checked. Fuel pumps are on. Anti-collision light is on. Parking brake will be released here when he tells us to. And then into the pushback we go. As far as the start procedure is concerned, we'll start with engine number 2. We'll use the ground start, obviously. When the N2 gets to 25%, we'll introduce fuel, and on we go. I did figure out how to turn on the backlighting. It's the big knobs down here. I couldn't remember for some reason. So we're just waiting on them now.
Departure check completed. Live has been inserted. Release parking brake.
Alright, brakes coming off.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start that wheel.
Alright, so starting with engine number 2, we're going to use the left ignition here, roll it to ground mode. Then we should be able to see almost immediately. There's the N2 starting to come up. Once it reaches 25, we'll introduce the fuel. And there we go. Easy enough. And now we're just waiting for the engine to stabilize. There's the starter kicking out, and the engine will stabilize usually right around 20, give or take a little bit, so we should be good. Let's go ahead and do engine number 1. Same thing, start valve is open, we're waiting for it to get to 25 on the N2. Quite the pushback. And introduce the fuel. Starter kick out. Boy, it is dark out there, isn't it? Alright, engine stabilizing. We're just about done with our pushback as well. Let's go ahead and start looking at this after start checklist. Engine generators need to come on. That's these two here. I always think of it as sending the power back to the APU. Probe heat needs to go on. Obviously, parking brake needs to be set now as well. There we go. Anti-ice as required. We're definitely going to need anti-ice today. And I'm drawing a blank. I never use anti-ice. There we go. Wing anti-ice on, engine anti-ice on. We'll leave those on for now. It really would be nice if we had some de-icing equipment. Engine bleeds need to come on. We might as well just stay up here for now. Engine bleeds are on, actually. Packs can go on. Actually, they go to auto. And isolation valve and APU bleed both go to... Why does APU bleed say auto? No, it says off, sorry. Isolation valve to auto. Right click that one. APU bleed goes to off. APU switch can come off at this point. External lights as required. Master caution light needs to be put off. And recall needs to be checked. So we won't turn the taxi lights on in their face yet. Recall, press this one here. Recall is checked. So we're just waiting for them to get out of the way. And once they do, oh, there they go. Fantastic.
It's clear. Right is clear.
There's taxi lights coming on there. And our taxi checklist. Taxi clearance is obtained. Ground crew is, we've obtained the salute or whatever, and then it tells us about the taxi speed. We do need to set our flaps. We said we're going to go with flaps 10 today. So let's set that. There we go. That should put us at flaps 10 there, I think. Let me double check it. Nope, that's flaps 5. We want flaps 10. There we go. Thought I had that wrong. Alright, all I got to do now is set up my track IR. We'll be back on here in just a second. We'll be ready to taxi out and take care of our taxi and departure briefings. Alrighty folks, we're all set to taxi out here, so let's get this thing started. Track IR is coming on, a little jump here. Big jump, depending on how you look at it. And let's get that parking brake off and bring in a little bit of throttle here. And we're not too heavy, so we should get going relatively easily. There we go. And as we're taxiing out, why don't we take care of that taxi and departure briefing. Alright, it's going to be pretty straightforward on the taxi today, folks. We're parked down here at the end of the terminal. We're going to push back with our nose pointed to the right here, or we already did. Taxi down here onto Echo, and then we're going to have to back taxi on the runway to our turnaround point so that we can use runway 19. ATIS is on 126.125, and our tower is on 118.5. 3. Not a lot of traffic in this area, so we should be alright on that end. Let's take a look at this departure briefing. So we've gone ahead and chosen the Gilgu 1 Bravo departure. And for us, we're going to take it out to Gilgu. So when we depart here, it's once we hit, I think 700 feet here. It probably says it somewhere in the narrative. I haven't looked at it yet. But either way, we're going to hit this point right here and make a right turn to 217 degrees out here to TC, looks like TC 702. So that's a waypoint, TC 700. So straight out to TC 700, then over to TC 702, right to 243 degrees to TC 703, and then out to Gilgu from there, and then on course. In the event of lost comms, maintain last cleared and acknowledge level for 2 minutes and climb to the cruising level stated in the flight plan. Aircraft under radar vectoring shall continue on last cleared and acknowledge heading and level for 2 minutes. Basically the same thing over again. Approach is on 123.75. Airport elevation is at 32 feet. Alright, probably wasn't my best taxiing job there. It's really dark out here and I'm not familiar with the airport, so give me a little bit of credit. Let's take care of our before takeoff checklist here. Master caution light needs to be off. Recall is checked and cleared. Flight controls are checked. Flaps are set. Trim is set and checked. Flight directors are on. Takeoff briefing is completed. Takeoff clearance is obtained. Strobe lights need to come on. We probably could have turned those on as we came onto the runway as well. Strobe lights. There we go. We want strobe and steady. There we go. Wing lights are on. Landing lights are on. Runway turn-off lights are on. Engine start switches need to go to continuous. Whoops. They need to do that. There we go. Continuous on both of those. Auto throttle needs to be armed. There she is. And transponder, we put it on TARA before we pulled on the runway, just in case there was any inbound traffic. So we're going to go on all of that. Heading bug needs to be aligned with the runway, which it already is. Throttle's to 40%, then toga engaged and brakes released, which means we're ready to rock and roll. Track higher coming on, a little jump here. There we go. And what do you say we get this bird in the air? Throttle's up to 40. Right about there. Let them stabilize just a little bit. There we go. Release brakes and toga. Let her drift over to the center of the runway here. Yeah, see, even with takeoff 1, that's a lot of thrust right there. I think we're good. And away we go. Coming up on V1 and rotate.
V1.
And up and away. Alright, positive rate of climb gear coming up. Something I seem to forget on occasion. Boy, those displays are still really bright, aren't they? That's a little bit better. Bring the brightness down a little bit. Alright, there's our thrust reduction right there. Coming up on our first turn. Boy, those were really bright. Got them turned down a little bit there. Go to flaps 5 now. And we're going to start making our turn here. Flaps 2. Flaps 1. We're nowhere near as heavy as I anticipated, are we? She's gonna climb quick. Yeah, mountains out there. It looks good, huh? Probably could have turned terrain on. Down a little bit more. There we go. Alright, we're looking pretty good here, folks. Speed's starting to come up. We're just about out to our first waypoint here, or our second waypoint. We made our turn already. Just passing 7,000 feet. We'll get this next turn going here, and then we'll maybe bring the autopilot on and start taking care of the Takeoff checklist. And there's that speed coming in. Looking pretty good. Looks like flight director didn't really take us into that turn quick enough, huh? That's alright. Coming up on 9,000 feet. Let's go ahead and get the autopilot on here. There we go. Autopilot's on. Track iron's coming off. Let's get that dome light on so we can see what we're doing. Fantastic. Alright. Looking pretty good here. Flaps are up. Let's take care of, well, let's just hold off 1 second here. We're almost 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and we'll get the lights off and all that, and then we'll worry about this after takeoff checklist. There it is, 10,000 feet. Landing lights coming off. Runway turn off lights, taxi lights all coming off. Those can go off. And let's take a look at our after takeoff checklist. Positive rate of climb was established. Gear up. Flaps are up. Autopilot's on. VNAV and LNAV are both engaged and working properly. Gear needs to go to the off position. Click right there on the word off and it goes off. Engine starter's off and auto brakes off. Fantastic. That takes care of our after takeoff checklist, ladies and gentlemen, and that means, you guessed it, it's time for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alrighty folks, we're going to be coming up on our top of the descent here pretty quick. We want to take care of a little bit of housekeeping here. First things first, taking a look at our checklist here. It talks about transition altitude, all that. I'm not worried about that. What we do need to take care of is we need to adjust our MCP altitude. And we're looking for 3,000 feet. So you may have noticed there was no arrival briefing. That's because there's no arrival for this airport. So it's we're going to take care of descent procedures, start the descent, and then we're going to roll right into the approach briefing. So there we go, 3,000 feet there. Now let's hop down here and let's get our FMC set up. Little Cap Mac grumbling for you there. We'll do full flaps landing because that's what I like to do. So it's going to be flaps 40, 137 knots, nice and slow. We'll leave that on this page here. You can see we've already tuned in the ILS. We're going to take runway 10, I believe it is. Is it? Yep. Yep, runway 10. ILS for runway 10 is already tuned in. So we're good to go on that. What else we got here? We want to hit our recall. Nothing pops up there. And that's pretty much the gist of it. Pretty straightforward as far as all of that goes, right guys? So we've got our procedures done as far as the descent is concerned. And we've got probably, what, 20 miles to go there? I guess that went a little faster than I anticipated. That's all right. Let's go ahead and take care of our approach briefing, and then once that is done, we'll jump into a little bit of cinematic, and then away we go on to the approach. All right, taking a look at the arrival today, or not the arrival, the approach today is the ILS 10 approach for Svalbard. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. Taking a look here, long year information is on 118.1 or 119.850. Localizer frequency is 110.3 with a final approach course of 97 degrees. Glide slope intercept at 4 nautical miles from the localizer to 1,570 feet. Then airport elevations at 94 feet with the runway at 71 feet. If we have to perform we missed approach, we'll turn left to intercept and proceed on the 309 degree radial from the NDB. Yep, they're still using NDBs up here. And then at 11 nautical miles out, we'll turn left to the NDB and enter a holding, climbing to 4,600 feet. Hopefully we don't have to do that. That might be entertaining. But anyway, we're going to come in over here at Lalad, because we're coming from this direction anyway, down to Lulvo, and then hopefully intercept the localizer there down to 9.2, 4.0, 2.7. Hopefully no missed approach there. You can see it in the profile view and the plan view, and then this is the missed approach path here. So pretty straightforward. As far as the ILS is concerned, let's see, ILS 486 feet is our decision altitude. Yep, decision altitude at 486 feet. Runway visual range, minimum 1,500 meters for landing, and I think we're pretty good to go. Happy lights on the left and right hand side according to this. In reality, they're just on the left hand side, and we're good to go. Alright folks, we're about to cross Lulvo here. I think that's how you say it, Lulvo. And let's go ahead and let's arm the localizer here. You can see it turns white on the PFD here. We've got flaps 2 out already. We've got our frequencies tuned in. Let's go ahead and take care of this approach briefing really quick. Or not the approach briefing, the approach checklist. The approach is selected and briefed. Nav radios are set for the approach. It says they intercepted 180 knots. We're going to be at about 183, it looks like. It's telling us descent path unachievable. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and put it in the approach mode as we're making the turn here, trying to intercept that glide slope, and it intercepts it right away. Fantastic. So we can go to gear down, flaps 15. That's going to be 10 there, or is that 5? That's 5. I'm here to tell you, it is struggling to slow down, like a lot. This airplane's really been struggling to slow down this entire time. Alright, let's get that speed down a little bit more. Let's continue our approach checklist here. Auto brake is armed. We've got it set to 3 or 4. We do have snow outside, so we're expecting a slippery runway. What else? Auto spoilers are armed. Engine start switches are in the continuous mode. And the gear is down and locked with 3 green. Fantastic. Track car coming on a little jump here. Boom. There we go. You You can see the snow hitting the windscreen there. Good times. It's on single channel right now, just in case the weather isn't what we expect it to be. Let's go ahead and arm both of those autopilots there. Flaps 15 coming in now. And I don't know why it switched to manage mode for the speed, but we're going to be landing at, what did we put there? 137 knots. So, what is that? 142 on here. Let's get that down to 142. And, well, we're still a little ways out. We probably don't need to get that slow quite yet. Let's get it to 160. 160 looks good. I like that. Definitely some gusty winds out here, huh? We've got lots of mountains on the right-hand side. Overall, this approach is pretty straightforward for us, though. Shouldn't be any difficulties here. We're going to be just about at our minimum maneuvering speed for this flap setting. Should be alright, though. There's the runway coming into sight now. Let's go ahead and bring that speed down now. 142 we said. There we go. Next setting of flaps coming in. It's going to be a bumpy landing, guys.
2,500.
It looks like the ILS has us lined up just a little off the left side here. I wonder if that's intentional or not. I think we need a little bit more light up here, don't we? It's this one. There we go. Yeah, there's no backlighting on the flap setting, right? So you can't see it on there, which is a little frustrating. Oh well. We'll just go with that for now. That'll be just fine. Final setting of flaps coming in. Maybe. Should be, yep, we're full flaps there. Boy, it's really hard to see in this thing when it's dark like this, huh? Alrighty, what do you say we go ahead and kick that autopilot off? Now I know somebody's going to yell at me for doing it this way, but unfortunately we can't see the yoke, so autopilot off. There we go. Get rid of that warning there. Looking pretty good. Almost looks like the nose is coming up for some reason. Not sure why it's doing that, but that's going to get us a little high there. We don't want to do that. Leave the auto throttles on for now, especially with this rather wild weather we got going on here. It's not really that bad. It's just kind of bumpy. All right, looking pretty good. A little difficult to make an approach when it's this dark. You know, you've got no real visual reference, especially here because there's no lights or anything out here. It's just water. Water and snow blowing in our face, so we're looking pretty good though. There's some more of the lights kicking in there. Not sure why they're not showing up sooner, but now the ILS indicator is saying that we're a little high still, which we probably are. It's really hard to tell when it's this dark, isn't it? Definitely too high though. You can see that we're down to 3 white lights and 1 red, so we're too high. There, we're back on now. I'm getting there anyway, almost there. Using our instruments more than we are the visual indicators at this point. Now the auto throttle should cut out when I land. You know what, I'm not even going to mess with it. Let's go ahead and kick the auto throttle off. And let's bring up, just control them ourselves here. There we go. I like that a little bit better. Looking good here. Just a little low. Kind of saw that coming though. There we go. And let's hold that and listen for our call outs. Wind is a little gusty. Got a little high.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Barely touched the yoke. There we go. Little reverse. Or a lot of reverse. Alright. Auto brakes off. Roll her over here and we'll clip on some lights in here and get a look at what we got going on. This stupid reverse kicking in for no reason. And I have reverse thrust turned off and everything. You have to push a button for reverse thrust. Alright. So I'd like to use GSX. We'll see if it'll let us here. Pull her off to the side here. Let's get those landing lights off. Let's get a dome light on up here. There we go. Landing lights coming off. Wrong one. That was the fuel pump. Awesome. Bring her to a stop. Taxi lights on. Track iron coming off real quick. Let me try and do GSX first. Let's see if it'll let us get a parking spot here. It even says the large spots are too small. We can take the cargo spot though, it looks like. You gotta follow me heading over here real quick. So while we're doing that, let's take it as after landing checklist. Speed brake lever needs to be up, which it's not yet. There we go. Flaps need to go all the way up. Fantastic. Need the APU to come on, and he's showing up already, isn't he? Boy, he's quick. Probe heat can go off. He'll probably wait for us, maybe. Probe heat off. There we go. What else? Landing lights are off. Taxi lights are on. Strobe lights can go off. And those are this one. And then flight director's off as well. Flight director's off. And away we go. And that's our parking space right there, so I think we'll be alright. Did we miss anything? Oh, transponder can go to standby. Whoop. There we go. A little bit of thrust coming in here, get us moving forward. Track iron coming back on for a second. Since we don't have to taxi far, I'm sure you guys won't mind joining me for the taxi, huh? And welcome to the most northern commercial airport in the world. Or supposedly that's what it is. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. Let's go ahead and turn those taxi lights off now. I'm really bad about shining them in their face. So it looks like we gotta go over here. What's that light? See that? That's not from us, is it? We don't have a parking dude here for us. Where did it guide us in? And we'll just get it as close as we can. Should be about right there. Alright, track iron coming back off then. Let's set that parking brake really quick. There we go. APU should be up and running, so we can put the power on, put the APU on the bus, turn the engine, or shut the engines down. Don't turn them off, we shut them down. I know somebody was going to say something about that, right? And let's see if we can start unloading passengers real quick. Request deboarding. Pack signs can come off. There we go. I don't know if they're going to actually deboard or not. It looks like they are, so let's get those doors open real quick. Menu, FS actions, ground connections, set the wheel chocks, connect to ground power while we're here. Doors. Open both of those and both of those, and that should get passengers offloading here shortly, and we can go into our shutdown and secure checklist. Brakes are set, start levers are in the cutoff position, ground power needs to come on. That's this one right here. There we go, ground power is now on. What's next on here? Doors and stairs are open, fuel pumps all go off. As these here, I accidentally turned one off as we pulled in. Cabin utility and IFE passenger switches go off. That's these two up here. There we go. Window heat off, probe heat off. Probe heat's already off. Here's the window heats up here. I know these two are going to need to go off here shortly. That was the electric hydraulics. All bleeds need to go off. So APU bleed is off. Those are off. Isolation valve needs to be closed. Recirc fan to auto. Here's the ISO valve. I clicked it the wrong way. Recirc fans are already on the auto position. External lighting off. So logo, we'll leave logo light on for the moment. Anti-collision stays on because we still got the APU running. Those guys can go off. Taxi light is off. Oh, I left the runway turn-off lights on, didn't I? Awesome. Emergency exit lights off. These guys here. Right click. And then APU, it doesn't show APU going off on here, which is kind of strange. The APU's got to go off because we're on ground power now. So APU goes off. And then the battery goes off, but we're not going to turn that off because we're offloading passengers. And that means that's going to wrap it up for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Another destination of the month done. Hey, my parking wasn't too bad. I was pretty close, right? I had to kind of squeeze this one in at the end here. I'm going to try and edit it today. I got another video I want to try and work on as well, but love the snow coming across the lights there. But anyway, the point is we got in here and we're going to try and do this every month. I'm not going to make a promise that I'll be able to, but I'm definitely going to try. So I'm always going to try and get the destination of the month in, and that's where we're at for this one here. So in this case, our COO Eric Cowell Flaps Grindstaff put this one together for us. So Eric, thank you very much. Great little destination here. The weather is just stellar, so I'm loving that. And yeah, it was a good time, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this flight. It's definitely a different area to fly in. I am using Orbic's EU Norway scenery, so if you haven't had an opportunity to grab that, you might want to check it out. It's not too shabby. And that's all, folks. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button. I almost always forget to say that, then I'm like, what do I say next? If you haven't done so already, smash the subscribe button, folks. We're up to 5,500 subscribers, and I am grateful for every one of you. I truly am. You can also give the video a thumbs up. Let me know that you like it. If you're going to give it a thumbs down, give me some constructive criticism, please, to make it more productive for me and ultimately to make them more entertaining for you. You can like us on Facebook. If you haven't done so already, I highly recommend you go over there and do it because there is an announcement on there right now for a live stream coming up next month. Check the events section. Alright, so I put a post in there on Facebook pointing you to the events section, but check the events section because I created it as an event because I'd like folks, if you wouldn't mind, go in there and put whether or not you plan on coming. And it's okay if you know, if you put you're going to come and then you don't come, that's not a big deal, but I'm just seeing how that works out. So I tried it as an event this time, so check it out over there on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, and of course you can follow us on Twitch at Captain Mac 3588. That is where that live stream will take place. And that's it for this one, folks. Nothing left to say except, as always, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and have a fantastic day.